Like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Eligible items.
Don't miss the final days of our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get a new 2025 Ram 1500 and save up to $10,000 off MSRP. Choose a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee and get retail bonus cash up to $3,500 off MSRP. Hurry in for huge final days discounts on over 230 pre-owned vehicles. It's almost over. Get to our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bedford, 1750 Independence Boulevard, MagicCityBedford.com.
Hey there, fellow travelers. It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish. 800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. Call the Hotel Whiz right now for rates too low to publish. 800-378-2714.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app, 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
Welcome back into the Fast Lane. I'm TJ Wilkerson, hosting the show for Ed today. Shout out to Ed for the opportunities to continually be able to have this opportunity on doing something that I love dearly, and that is talking sports on radio, being around sports, reporting on sports, and so forth. Welcome back to another edition of The Fast Lane, and we are getting so close to college football finally returning. We are literally a week out from week 0. Not the most exciting schedule in the world. I mean, Iowa State and Kansas State. That's a good game in itself, right? That's the game of the week. Though I wouldn't put Western Kentucky and Sam Houston State out of it necessarily, especially to all my Liberty fans out there currently listening to the program, whether it be here on the VTRN Sports app or on 93.3 FM, 1320 AM Lynchburg. Or maybe you're listening to it prior to the ending of the show in podcast format. Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. But I think personally, Western Kentucky, especially because we don't know how long Western Kentucky will be in Conference USA. Look, if UTEP can get poached, Mid-Tennessee can get poached. Look, who's to say Western Kentucky, who I would argue is the second best behind Liberty in the Conference USA, as far as football goes, especially. And football pays a lot, so you want to bring in a Power 5 team to maybe bolster your conference, whether you're a dying Mountain West conference who's losing half of their teams to the Frankenstein of a conference now known as the Pac-12 that literally lost everybody and anybody but Washington State and Oregon State. Now they're adding half of the Mountain West teams. So, does it make sense to put Western Kentucky in the Mountain West? No, it makes about as much sense as it would to put Liberty in the Mountain West. But if we really cared about geographical locations, then, well, Oregon being in the Big Ten. Hey, let's go even further, actually. Stanford and Cali being in the ACC. That in itself, two schools in the Pacific Coast being in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Though I do love hearing Andrew Luck's insight, especially when he sat down and spoke with Ed Lane at ACC Media Days. They also will be playing week 0 against Hawaii, Stanford and Hawaii. Maybe not your marquee matchup, but hey, it's football. Hey, football's back. And we're going to be talking football in the weeks prior. Look, we have Virginia Tech for you on this network. Virginia Tech, who will be heading to the Aflac kickoff in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, taking on Shane Beamer in South Carolina, right? The Beamer Bowl. Frank Beamer, legend at VT in Blacksburg. Now his offspring is coaching down in South Carolina, though he said in the Netflix docuseries Down South, I want to retire as a Gamecock. I have to say, if something does happen where Brett Pry does leave Virginia Tech, whether he's removed, if they don't live up to the standard, or if someone poaches him, who's to say that Virginia Tech won't try and offer Beamer the job where Frank Beamer formerly coached, where Frank Beamer created a standard that is expected at Virginia Tech? Will that standard be met? You will find out this season. 2 SEC games back to back. 1 neutral site, which we'll be talking about with a very special guest later on today here in the Fast Lane, Mr. Gary Stokan, CEO of the Peach Bowl Incorporation and the Aflac Kickoff. Very excited to hear about that. Very excited to hear from Gary. Great opportunity. Want to shout out Ed for making that opportunity happen, as he'll be calling in later for the final segment of this show. And if you're NASCAR fans, by the way, we also have a treat for you on the Fast Lane today, which caught me off guard, but I'm getting to sit down with Austin Dillon today, the winner of the Richmond Speedway, Richmond 400. Been in RCR, Richard Childress Racing. That's the corporation where Dale Earnhardt, back in the day, put them on the map. And they've had several great racers, obviously. Kevin Harvick, for example, comes to mind. They got Kyle Busch now. Recruited him in 2023. Austin Dillon had a hand in that. Can't wait to talk to him about that and his recruitment of Kyle Busch. It's going to be an interesting conversation, especially since his win was so controversial. Because of the way it ended, he won the race last year. They gave him the win. But then the organization, for those who don't know, at the end of the race, Austin Dillon wrecks Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, right? Whether it was on accident, whether it was on purpose, I mean, that's for you to decide. Our very own Trey Lyle was actually at that race last year. Trey Lyle hosted the morning warm-up, which you can listen to every weekday here on VTRN Sports and on anywhere you listen to podcasts. But you want to talk about controversial. You want to talk about what is controversial. That's a great question. Great question. Because a lot of controversy, a lot of things happening in and out of court. Whether you look at the John Gruden case with the NFL. I didn't even know that case was happening until it finally blew up on Twitter. Apparently it had been happening in the running for a few days. And now from what I've seen, Brian Flores is also going to court with the NFL about teams passing on him. That's going to be an interesting case in itself. Brian Flores, I think, is a great head coach. I think he turned that Miami program around. But at the end of the day, when Miami struggled, who gets the blame? Who gets the blame when any football team struggles? The coaches, right? But if you've been paying attention in the sports world today, and I was semi-paying attention, I was at work, right? I have another job. And I was at my other job today. And if they want to sponsor us here on the Fast Lane, I will gladly mention their name. But I'm going to keep the aura of Ed Lane around and be a little petty because they don't sponsor our station. But if they did, they get great benefits like your company can. When you approach VTRN in sponsorship or getting your company on InsaneRadioDeals.com, and you benefit in the long run, by the way. You benefit in the long run by teaming up with us. If there's a loss, that loss is on us. We get the loss. Your company doesn't. Your company gets to move on. But we have been known to keep our word and continually bring in great rates here at the Virginia Talk Radio Network. That's why it's a great deal for you to sponsor us. So anyway, I'm getting off track here. I was at my other job today, and I get an update on Twitter from Brett McMurphy on 3 Insider now. And he says, hey, Michigan is about to announce, well, the NCAA is about to announce Michigan's punishment at noon today. Okay, well, Michigan, whoa. See, this is a controversy that's been happening since 2023, after that 2023 season where Michigan went on to win the Natty. Went undefeated, dominated nearly everybody, beat Ohio State finally, and they've defeated Ohio State in back-to-back years after Ohio State spent a decade smothering their name onto the Wolverine patch. Well, the Wolverines get their win. 2023, right? 2023 championship. And then there's this whole controversy. John Harbaugh, by the way, now coaching for the Chargers. Highest paid head coach in college at the time. Man, look, it came out that someone on the staff, Connor Stallions, the Stallion himself, apparently, was sign stealing. Now, it's crazy. If you remember, Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano accused Michigan of sign stealing during that game that year when they lost 31-7. You know, when Michigan had that cupcake schedule, almost kind of like what they do now, except outside of that Oklahoma game. But anyway, everyone said, Greg, you're crazy, man. Huh, who's trying to steal signs from the Rutgers? Who cares enough about Rutgers football? Who's worried enough about Rutgers football losing to them if they're the Michigan Wolverines? Sign stealing? What? That's crazy talk. Well, the season progressed, and guess what? The NCAA had findings of Michigan stealing opponent signs. And this guy, Connor Stallions, would go so far as to travel to visiting teams' games, steal signs from them, and even if they weren't playing this opponent, if it was an opponent they were worried about facing in the college football playoff, they were like, okay, wait a second here. Wait a second. Maybe we should throw a saboteur in there. I mean, look, Clemson, for example, it is believed, there's a theory that South Carolina was given signs from Michigan, who was going, and South Carolina was about to play Tennessee and Clemson, two teams who had high chances of making bowl games, by the way. Hendon Hooker led Tennessee, and young Caden Klubnik with a great powerhouse of an offense at Clemson. South Carolina went on to beat both teams. Those two would miss out. Now the NCAA, after all the speculation, look, the good news for Michigan, is they're not going to vacate their 2023 championship. That was what was talked about. Oh, man, those seasons are going to be vacated. It doesn't count, kind of like the Lakers play-in bubble championship. It's not going to count now. And notice how Jim Harbaugh walked away afterwards and took the job with San Diego or L.A., kind of like what Pete Carroll did when he left USC and went to Seattle. Did he really want the NFL job? Maybe so. Probably so. Why? Who wouldn't want a job to coach in the NFL? Or did he take it so immediately, even after Harbaugh said, I will never leave Michigan, I'm staying here, because he knew what was coming? What is the punishment before we go into our next segment, as we are preparing to talk to Austin Dillon here in a short moment? What is the punishment for Michigan? Sharon Moore suspended 3 games. 2 of them were self-imposed, by the way. Notice how they didn't impose the suspension against Oklahoma. You know, the one Power 5 school they happen to be playing in the non-conference, right? But they banned him against Central Michigan. Hey, look, you can do Oklahoma, you can do New Mexico, but hey, you cannot coach Central Michigan. No, you can't do that. Look, Michigan is losing $30 million, by the way, of fines. Some of these people on staff, including Denard Robinson, former college standout, won't even be able to get hired unless these teams ask the NCAA for permission because of a cause. 8-year cause for Connor Stallions. He can't work in the NCAA. People aren't going to want to hire him. And even if they try, NCAA probably won't approve it. And hey, look, they post that on Jim Harbaugh. He's not returning to college. Look, if the Chargers were to fire or he were to step away from LA, he's not leaving, guys. He's not leaving. They're not, look, they don't have to vacate your wins. Congratulations. Your championship counts. But at what cost? Well, what's the future hold? Because now you're going to lose scholarship money. You're losing NIL money. 10% of your athletic revenue is going to be taken by the NCAA. Like, the punishments go on and on and on. So at the end of the day, is it worth to buy or to cheat your way to a championship? I know we don't usually like to judge in the fast lane, but look, I respect Michigan because it's not the players' fault that the coaches messed up. They went along for the ride. They went out there to prove themselves, and they won. They dominated. They deserve it. But what does that say for other teams now? And what does this do to the Michigan Wolverines now? When you mention the Michigan Wolverines, what happens? Oh, remember that team that cheated to get that national championship? Remember that team that supposedly cheated because they couldn't beat Ohio State? You decide here on the fast lane. We'll let you decide on the fast lane, or which you can go to our socials and tell us, do you think Michigan will have a horrendous reputation after this, or do you think, it don't matter, they'll bounce back? USC bounced back somewhat, right? You can tell us this on our socials at Fastlane Edlane, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Love to hear your comments on this. When we return, we got a special guest for y'all here. Austin Dillon, RCR Racing, Richard Childress Racing, will be joining our program. And we're really excited to talk to him because I'm curious on, first off, the recruiting of Kyle Busch. It makes you wonder, look, if you were able to pick Kyle Busch and convince him to come to RCR, imagine when you step away from your racing career. Would you take a recruiting role then? All this and more to find out when we return to the fast lane with that lane. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Fast Lane with Ed Lane on VTR and Sports app, 93.3 FM, 1320 AM, or ask that smart speaker, open VTRN Sports. We'll be right back.
Summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. You don't need super strength to get approved for credit. Sheeler owns the finance company. Getting approved for credit is super easy on the Motor Mile with financing options for every budget. Sheeler makes car buying easy with the hottest brands all in one location. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. Over 900 used vehicles in stock now and ready to move. More than any other dealer in the area. Plus exceptional service, selection, and savings. Need some summer spending cash? Sheeler will buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from us. Plus super money for your trade. Volume selling means volume pricing. And we've got the volume with over 900 used vehicles in stock now. No games, no gimmicks, just summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Your premier used car dealer. Locally owned for over 50 years. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Your home is more than just walls and windows. It's where life happens. And at Right Choice Construction, we get that. We're not just builders. We're fathers, mothers, neighbors, just like you. And every nail and every beam reflects our commitment to creating a place you're proud to live in. With Right Choice Construction, you're choosing a team that's been perfecting the art of building for years. So build with us. Build with experience. Build with quality. Build with Right Choice.
Liberty Flames football season is just around the corner. Come out to Flames Fan Appreciation Day this Saturday at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg. Gates open at 11 a.m. Admission is free. Scrimmage starts at noon. Get your first look at live Flames football action before the season opener. See the Spirit of the Mountain Marching Band, concessions and inflatable rides for kids, and meet the team for autographs and pictures after the scrimmage. Flames Fan Appreciation Day this Saturday. Don't miss it.
The feel of the beach is perfect. Relaxing with family and friends. Bonding over memorable meals fresh from the seas. It's a beach experience, and it's in our backyard at 801 Raw Bar in downtown Lynchburg. They're family-owned and family-operated, bringing you that relaxing beach house vibe while you enjoy the freshest seafood from our region, including raw oysters, king crabs, and snow crab. Not really a seafood person? Try their fresh handcrafted burgers, subs, pizza, and salads. Step into the relaxing beach house vibe at 801 Raw Bar on Church Street in downtown Lynchburg.
Sometimes it's okay to listen to that devil on your shoulder. That's what we did at InsaneRadioDeals.com. We're taking off 66.6% of select items on the site right now. This includes Linux of Lynchburg bedliners, a $700 value for only $187. A devilish deal that'll make you laugh. Get this devil of a deal when you access the promo code INFERNO on InsaneRadioDeals.com now through Sunday.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
Back in the Fast Lane, and the best part about being here in the Fast Lane is that we get to cover NASCAR. And the best part about NASCAR is Virginia, the state itself, has a couple of courses, obviously. We all know about Martinsville. We got Richmond Speedway as well. Richmond race happening this week, and we have the pleasure of bringing on Dillon Austin, last year's winner of the Richmond Speedway. Literally, probably 2 days ago was exactly a year from that win. Dillon, first off, thank you for joining us, man, but my question for you, to start us all out, what are the chances of you two-peating?
Well, I hope they're very high. You know, we've got two chances to win the next 2 weeks, and we circled this one on the schedule. And I love coming to Richmond, and it's been a good track for me.
What would you say is the better track, Richmond or Martinsville?
Ooh, I would have to go personally. I'd have to go with. Man, that's tough. I've won at Richmond, but I'm going to have to go with Richmond because I won there.
I love it. I love it. All right. So last year, we know after the win, there was obviously a little controversy that came after that. Is when you come back to Richmond after last year's win, is it hunting to return to, or is there a drive to not only just win again, but also push back last year's everything that happened last year in the past?
Oh, for sure. I would love to go out there and show off again with our strong performance that we had, because we had a 3-second lead before the caution came out at the end of that race last year. And but it's a new year. But I enjoy just running that track, and would love a strong performance. And if we can win, that would just make it that much sweeter.
Austin Dillon joining us here on the Fast Lane. Last year's winner of Richmond Speedway, driver for RCR, Richard Childress Racing. And when we talk about Richard Childress Racing, a lot of great history there. Obviously, Dale Earnhardt. You talk about Kevin Harvick, Clinton Bowyer. You've been there for a while. And a couple years ago, y'all added Kyle Busch to the mix. I've heard that you had a hand in recruiting Kyle. Can you talk about y'all's relationship and how the process went as far as recruiting Kyle to come to RCR, and why is Kyle such an important figure to have? Obviously, we know he's a legend and everything, but what makes him historic / important to have on this team?
Well, it's awesome having Kyle Busch on our team, and his ability to get to victory lane at any track is impressive. He's one of the most winningest drivers in NASCAR history, and it was nice getting him over here. That experience that he brings, the competitive edge. It's been nice to have Kyle as a teammate.
What is y'all's relationship, if you don't mind me asking? Do y'all go back as friends? Have y'all just recently connected? What's the relationship there?
Well, we've fought on the racetrack as competitors for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle owned a Xfinity team at one point. Actually, had approached me about driving for him. So that was pretty cool, full circle to come back around and get him over to RCR when we needed him.
Recruiting a guy like Kyle Busch, that goes a long way. So let me ask you this, Austin. When racing is all said and done, would you think about taking a managerial role, a recruiting role, starting your own team? Because, not only do you have like the accolades that go with the career, but it seems like you're a great recruiter. It seems like you're great on developing relationships. You've been in the business for a while. Could we see you in a recruiting role or starting your new team soon? Or what's in the future for you once all is said and done?
Well, I love being a part of RCR, and I want to help build RCR in any way possible. My grandfather has done a great job here at RCR, and I want to support him and our family the best we can, and get it back to its winning ways in any way possible, if that's driving or helping from a management role. Right now we have a PBR team, the Carolina Cowboys, and I've enjoyed being the GM of it and working with people. And I just love sports in general and the competitive nature that comes along with it.
You talk about the competitive nature. I will never probably get to experience driving on a NASCAR track. Can you describe from experience what it's like getting behind the wheel, no matter the speedway? What is that like for you, getting on the track and racing?
Well, every weekend presents a new challenge. Every track's a little different than the next. A lot of speed, a lot of time and effort put into what we do. Working with the guys, going to the simulator. It's a grind of a season. I'd say we have the longest sports season of anyone. Baseball plays a lot, but we're on the road a lot longer. In February to November, that's a long time.
Right. Absolutely. So when you talk about the putting out a product there, how much of an importance is the track when it comes to putting out a product for any racing team out there, not just for the driver, but for NASCAR itself?
Oh, we want to go out there and put on a good show for our fans. We have a lot of people that show up each and every weekend, tune in to our races and come and support us. So, it's very important to put on a good show for everyone.
When you perform for RCR, Austin Dillon, by the way, joining us here on the Fast Lane. RCR, obviously, we talked about its history, Austin, and Dale Earnhardt, obviously, being a huge part of that history. Does that apply any pressure to you to perform well and represent RCR well?
Pressure is what you put on yourself, and want to go out there and definitely do the best we can for our organization, for the men and women that put in the time and effort to build fast race cars, and hopefully bring some trophies back to welcome North Carolina.
I was reading the story the other day. I understand that a while back when you started in 2013, the Cup race, you took over as for Tony Stewart after he hurt his leg in Michigan years ago. And being a Tony Stewart fan myself, I'm curious about the story itself. Did he come up to you and ask personally? Was it the team that recruited you there? What is your relationship with Tony Stewart? And can you tell me the background behind that story? And what was it like driving his car?
Yeah, Tony is a dirt racer, and I have a dirt racing background. So I think that is what kind of helped kindle the relationship, running Eldora for him and the Prelude. And then when we had the opportunity to jump in the 14, it was awesome. It was a super fast car, and it was a heck of a privilege to be able to go do that. And I'll never forget it.
What do you think building that relationship with Tony as well as other drivers out there has done for you career-wise? How has that presented more opportunities for you as your career has gone on, Austin?
You hope to create relationships that show what kind of person you are and are long-standing, and just being a good stand-up person, I guess, is the biggest thing. But it's been good to me, the NASCAR has.
Absolutely. Austin Dillon joining us here for the Fast Lane. We want to appreciate his time that he's given us. A couple more questions for you, Austin. NASCAR is continually growing as far as viewership, obviously, but in how it's been presented, the different ways that the organization has tried to put on a good product. What do you see for the future of NASCAR being in this career for as long as you have?
Well, I think we're going to some interesting places, changing up the schedule quite a bit. The new car has been interesting, and we're trying to do our best to put on a good product each and every weekend. There's a lot of great, talented drivers out there right now that you can get behind and really pull for. That's what you need in sport.
How do you recruit the younger drivers from the other series up into the Cup? What involvement do you have with that when it comes to recruiting for RCR, and what all does that detail when you look at the younger drivers trying to come into the Cup Series?
I think I just give my thoughts on what they're good at and what they can improve on. Be supportive, because I've been able to do this for a long time and been through the ups and downs and how to handle certain situations. So just try and be there to support them and know that the future will be here before you know it.
We talk about younger drivers, Austin. A young driver that went to college here in town where our station is broadcasted from. It's Lynchburg, Virginia, Liberty University. William Byron seems like he's got a promising career ahead of him. I know he's not with RCR, but what are your thoughts on William Byron, on his growth, and what's the potential that you, as a veteran, see in a young William Byron?
Oh, William's strong. He's already established himself as one of the strongest competitors out each weekend. He's probably one of the top contenders for a championship this year. So William does a good job, and it's interesting to see where he came from, the background, the sim racing background, but he's done a good job.
Austin Dillon has joined us here in the Fast Lane. Thank you for your time, Austin. It's been a privilege to speak with you, and good luck this week. Hope that you get to go back-to-back this year on the Richmond Speedway, man. Good luck out there.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, man. Thank you so much.
With that being said, we're going to go take a commercial break. When we come back, we have a very special guest, Gary Stokan, CEO of the Peach Bowl Incorporated, is going to talk to us about the Aflac kickoff games coming up 2 weeks from now. Stick around on the Fast Lane.
Savings are heating up, and so are the summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. You don't need super strength to get approved for credit. Sheeler owns the finance company. Getting approved for credit is super easy on the Motor Mile with financing options for every budget. Sheeler makes car buying easy with the hottest brands all in one location. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs. Many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. Over 900 used vehicles in stock now and ready to move. More than any other dealer in the area. Plus exceptional service, selection, and savings. Need some summer spending cash? Sheeler will buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from us. Plus super money for your trade. Volume selling means volume pricing. And we've got the volume with over 900 used vehicles in stock now. No games, no gimmicks. Just summer super deals at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Your premier used car dealer. Locally owned for over 50 years. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Are your windows difficult to open and close? Are you air conditioning the outdoors with gaps around your old, worn-out windows? It's time to call Collins Siding and Windows. Let their experienced craftsmen transform your home's appearance with beautiful new windows while also saving you money on energy costs. Since 1989, Collins Siding and Window has been transforming homes in the Lynchburg area. Call Collins Siding and Window today for all of your exterior home projects. Call today, 434-525-6307.
When it comes to legal matters, there is no substitute for experience. Hi, I'm Randy Trost with Trost Law. We've gained knowledge from serving Virginians for over 4 decades. Since 1982, we've handled auto accidents and personal injury cases ranging from simple fender benders to complex tractor-trailer cases. And we're ready to put our experience to work for you. We hope you never need our services, but if you do, just give us a call at 777-HURT or visit us at trostlaw.com.
As a mom, I want to enjoy my time with my family and not energy-draining, time-consuming projects. That's why I trust Executive Maintenance. When I need a handyman, I call Executive Maintenance. When I need lawn care and landscaping, I call Executive Maintenance. And when I have a big project like gutter cleaning and pressure washing, I call Executive Maintenance. Guard your family time. Trust Executive Maintenance for all your house jobs. Visit executivemaintenancelynchburg.com and call them today so you can spend time enjoying your family as I do.
Don't miss the final days of our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get a new 2025 Ram 1500 and save up to $10,000 off MSRP. Choose a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee and get retail bonus cash up to $3,500 off MSRP. Hurry in for huge final days discounts on over 230 pre-owned vehicles. It's almost over. Get to our big summer sales event at Magic City Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bedford, 1750 Independence Boulevard. MagicCityBedford.com.
Step into the Fast Lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the Fast Lane.
And we are back in the Fast Lane to cap off this show. Look, it's an exciting time of the year. College football returns again, and it returns to the big stage on Labor Day weekend. Prior to week 0, obviously, week 1 full of big matchups. Look, we've talked about Texas and Ohio State. That's coming up in week 1, but there's a couple of great games coming up. Later on in the week, we got one on Saturday between Tennessee and Syracuse, and then the Beamer Bowl on Monday, Virginia Tech, South Carolina. I know the Hokie fans near Blacksburg and in the area of Lynchburg are excited for the Aflac kickoff between Shane Beamer's current team versus Frank Beamer's former team, Virginia Tech Hokies, South Carolina Gamecocks. And to get a little more insight into the Aflac Chick-fil-A kickoff game, we have Mr. Gary Stokan, the CEO for the Peach Bowl Incorporation. Gary, first off, how are you doing, man? It's an exciting time. I'm Captain Obvious here, but how excited are you for college football to be returning and for, once again, the Aflac kickoff to return on everyone's television screens?
Well, thanks, TJ, for having us. And you're right. It's an exciting time. We just met with Mercedes-Benz Stadium to talk about how we're going to execute and manage through doing 2 games within 27 hours. And we got Syracuse and Tennessee playing on Saturday at noon on ABC, August 30th. And then on Sunday, kind of a unique day to play college football, but the NFL is not playing. We're playing Virginia Tech, South Carolina on Sunday, August 31st at 3 o'clock on ESPN. So 2 games within 27 hours, and then in the Aflac kickoff games, and then we'll finish the season with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl on January 9th being the CFP semifinal game of the playoffs.
You know, Gary, I'm glad you mentioned that before we go back into the Aflac kickoff game, which, by the way, I'm credentialed for both games. Plan on going. I'm excited. But you talk about Chick-fil-A, the Peach Bowl, obviously, the big playoff game now that will take place in January. Can you tell me, when you're incorporating teams, obviously there's a different format between each game, the opening game and then obviously the playoff game. But what is different when it comes to bringing those games onto the national stage and picking those teams?
That's a great question. Obviously, for the Aflac kickoff games, I select the teams to play against each other. But in the playoff, it's a playoff. So whatever teams get picked by the CFP selection committee, we just wait and see. And this year will be kind of unusual because we'll only know the teams on January 1st after the quarterfinals are played. So we'll only have a week to know the teams to turn everything around to be ready to play on January 9th. And then January 8th is the other semifinal of the CFP in the Fiesta Bowl. So it's it's going to be a challenging year for my staff and Mercedes-Benz Stadium with all the quick turnarounds we have with both the 2 games in the Aflac kickoff game and then the semifinal Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
I'm curious, how does that setup work when you have 8 days finding out which teams you're going to represent in Chick-fil-A, and then Aflac preparing, the teams, but now you've got to get the field ready quickly for back-to-back games on back-to-back days. What is that setup like, and does it ever get overwhelming?
Well, my staff's the best in the business, so we're up for it. We're lucky that in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, being a new stadium, a lot of the signage is digitized.
Yeah.
So, having digital signage helps, but, you got to change out all the signage in the locker rooms.
Yeah.
You got to change the field, the end zones in the field. The midfield will stay the same because it's the Aflac kickoff game.
Right.
We're going to put the ACC and SEC logos on the field because both games are great ACC-SEC matchups. And then we'll have our old leather helmet logo on the field. So the field, just a little bit of change in the end zones and, signage in the locker rooms. There's some signage at our tailgate town outside. And then we've got, obviously, the press box. We got to do the flip charts. So, yeah, amongst other things, there's a lot of things that we'll have to change out, but we're up for it. We're ready to go.
Why 2 games for the Aflac kickoff? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sorry, I cannot talk today. Forgive me, as I have air bubble.
Hey, you're excited for college football.
Exactly,
I can understand that.
Exactly. I'm glad you understand my case, Gary. By the way, Gary Stokan joining us here on the Fast Lane. Why back-to-back games when it comes to the Aflac kickoff?
Well, in the past we've done 2 games. We've done a Friday, a Thursday, Saturday. We've done a Saturday, Monday. We've done a Friday, Saturday, I think. And about 2 or 3 years ago, ESPN started opening up the Sunday time slots. And so when we looked at doing these 2 games, obviously doing one on Saturday is an easy decision to make. And rather than play on Monday night, to make it easier for the fans, we said, let's play on Sunday so the fans can come in Friday if they want,
Yes, sir.
And see a game on Saturday or enjoy Atlanta on Saturday and then come to a game on Sunday and then get back Sunday night or even Monday so they can get back for work on Tuesday. So we made it kind of fan-friendly to play on Sunday, and there's no NFL games on, so it's great TV viewership slot as well.
Gary Stokan, once again, reminding y'all that he has joined the Fastlane Peach Bowl Incorporation CEO, head of the Aflac kickoff game that we will get to experience here on Labor Day weekend in just a couple of weeks from now, which is in a very exciting time. Gary, you talked about you pick the teams. What is your criteria when it comes to picking the teams? And it seems to be that the ACC and the SEC are y'all's favorite conferences to go to. What makes I guess my other question would be, will we ever see a Big Ten team approach the Aflac kickoff, or is there contract rules that abide the Big Ten from joining?
No, that's a great question. We were very successful selling out 18 straight years with the ACC versus the SEC in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And then we moved into the CFP as a New Year's Six Bowl game in 2014. And we knew we were going to get more national teams, obviously. So we said, well, let's stick with the ACC, SEC. So, we've gone out, we've gotten Boise State, we've gotten Oregon, we've gotten Washington. So we've gone outside the ACC, SEC, but for the most part, over the 21 games we've put on with 18 sellouts, most of them have been ACC, SEC matchups. It's a little bit harder to get a Big Ten team because they have 9 conference games.
Yeah.
And as an AD, from a business perspective, you want to have 7 home games.
Yeah.
When the Big Ten, when you have 5 away games and 4 home games, you have to take those other 3 non-conference. You have to schedule them all at home to make your budget at 7 home games. And so in the ACC and SEC case, they only have 8 conference games.
Yeah.
So they can schedule their 7 home games and they still have 1 game left. And that's typically the game that we go get.
What is I asked this earlier, I know I asked a double question, but what is your criteria when choosing these teams?
Sure. Yeah. These games, I could tell you they're like your kids. Everyone's a little different story. You just talk to a lot of coaches and a lot of ADs. I've been blessed to be doing this for 27 years now, and so I've got a lot of good relationships with ADs and coaches. And we just talk to a lot of coaches and ADs and find out what openings they have, what teams they would play, what teams they wouldn't play, what years work best for them schedule-wise. And then John Wildhack was at ESPN a lot of years as the AD at Syracuse. When he got the job, he said, Gary, we're trying to build Syracuse back.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you can do to help us to get us in the kickoff game. And so we looked out on the schedule and saw 25 was open, and we put 25 together. Mm-hmm. Danny White at Tennessee, good friend. He was AD at UCF when they played in our game in 17 against Auburn, and said they won the national championship that year. Danny said, hey, Gary, we're Tennessee. We recruit in Georgia a lot. We got a lot of Georgia players. It's only 3 hours from campus. We'd love to play in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And so, those are the kind of conversations you have. Ray Tanner was AD at South Carolina. He played baseball at NC State when I played basketball there. And then we both coached our respective sports. And then we've been trying for 10 years to try and put a game together. And then Virginia Tech, when Whit Babcock got the AD job, he said, we had so much success in Atlanta with Frank Beamer's teams that, we're trying to build our program back too. So if we can get on the big stage to play in Atlanta, and at that time, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, we'd love to do it. Mm-hmm. So, you have relationships and you just try and help people. And so we're blessed to have those relationships and be able to put on 2 games this year.
With you being an NC State alum, I know NC State had when I remember years ago, David Amerson was the star cornerback, Mike Glennon, the star quarterback. Have you tried to attempt to get NC State back and it just hasn't worked out? And is NC State your go-to team with them being your alma mater?
Love to have NC State whenever we can get them because Dave Doran's a good friend and does a great job. And Luke Corrigan's done a good job up there. We had NC State play Tennessee, back in, I think, 17. But, NC State scheduled out, I think, like East Carolina and Appalachian State and some in-state schools. And so they had scheduled out so far, we weren't able to get them on the schedule.
Gary Stokan joining us here on the Fast Lane to finish off our Friday show. I was reading through, Gary, and I saw the contract is slated through 2025 at Mercedes-Benz. I know this game's always been at Mercedes-Benz. It's always been in the heart of Atlanta. Will there ever be a thought of relocation, or is this the home for the Aflac kickoff? No matter what, you're going to get a contract done, no matter by any means necessary.
Well, you're going to have a great time coming down to 2 games in Mercedes-Benz Stadium because I think it's the best stadium in the country. The sight lines are tremendous. When you get 2 college teams in there with the roof closed, which we will have the roof closed so that we can guarantee 72 degrees in there. And the concession prices are the lowest in the NFL.
Amen. Chick-fil-A open onto that day, too.
Great experience. So you'll enjoy it. And, yeah, we won't move from Mercedes-Benz because it's just a wonderful facility.
And we get Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays during NFL Day. So that's another thing to look forward to, Gary.
Well, you'll get it on Saturday. You won't get it on Sunday in the stadium.
That's true.
You'll get it on Saturday.
At least we get it for Syracuse and Tennessee. I can get a nice
That's right.
crispy chicken sandwich over there.
There you go.
Gary, what started this whole Aflac kickoff in 2008? I know there's a reason behind it other than just bringing in entertainment. I know there's donations for children with cancer, blood disorders, and so forth. What started this football tradition, and why does it mean the world to you to keep this going and the charities that it may support in the near future?
Yeah, we had made a bid to get into the BCS in the old days when they were bringing on a 5th bowl game, and the commissioners decided to play the 4 existing bowls, the Rose, the Sugar, the Orange, and the Fiesta, in their regular slot, and then have them rotate the national championship game. And so we didn't get in. That was in 2006. In 2007, the NCAA legislated a 12th game to the schedules. And so I went to my board and I said, well, being the competitor that I am, if they're not going to let us in the backside of the season in the BCS, we're going to start the BCS on the front side of the season. And so we brought Alabama and Clemson in. I had good relationships with the AD and coach at Clemson and the head coach at Alabama, Nick Saban. And so we brought in Alabama, Clemson. We sold out the Georgia Dome at the time, had great viewership because prior to us doing this, most teams would schedule non-conference games that were directional schools and, they were easy wins.
Yes, sir.
And we basically changed the face of college football with scheduling the games, tough intersectional games. As now you see Ohio State's playing Texas the first week, Notre Dame's playing Miami, LSU's playing Clemson. So we've changed the face of college football. And you mentioned something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is in September. And so we wanted to honor the kids that, contract cancer by making donations to try and find cures and trials to eradicate childhood cancer. And so we've given $23 million to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and we now have 14 trials in 5 different hospitals in 4 different states, from neuroblastoma to leukemia. and brain tumors to try and find cures and trials to give a kid another month, another year, maybe another lifetime. And so we're using college football for the greater good. And Peach Bowl Inc., we were founded as a charity, the first charity bowl game back in 1968, the ninth oldest bowl game in history, but the first game for charity. And we've maintained that in our mission. We've given $65.8 million out, which is way more than any other bowl organization, or I don't know if there's any organization in college football that's given that much money back to charities and donations, making us the most charitable bowl organization in the country.
I love that. And y'all have definitely done a great job with everything and the donations that y'all have drawn in. And it means a lot to my heart, true and dear to my heart, in all honesty. I want to cap off our time together on the Fast Lane before I end our road trip, Gary, with, I know that Group of Five is not the most appetizing to viewership and everything, unless you're like Boise State back in the Kellen Moore days, or TCU back when they had Andy Dalton. But what are the chances for our Lynchburg fans out there? What would Liberty have to do to catch your eye and be a part of one of those two Aflac kickoff games in the near future?
Well, I'll take you down another road. I think the Group of Five should form their own national championship game. And if they wanted to, the national champion could be the one participant in the CFP playoff. But I think they're making a mistake not having their own national championship game in Group of Five, because they'd get a lot more TV money.
Yes, sir.
There'd be a lot more interest in the Group of Five. And I'll make maybe a crazy statement here, but I think the Group of Five should also play in the springtime. Because Fox and ESPN have proven that they want some football in the spring.
Yeah.
And the UFL and the USFL haven't worked.
Yeah.
But I think colleges would work. The weather would be a lot nicer for a lot of those schools up north in the springtime to play. And unfortunately, in this day and time, a lot of the Group of Five kids are transferring to Power Four schools if they make all conference because of NIL.
Yeah.
And so the Group of Five teams are losing those kids. But if they had them in the spring, played a national championship, I think it would do wonders for the Group of Five schools.
I love that.
So I'll end with that thought.
I love that. I love it. Okay. Mr. Gary Stokan was kind enough to join us and give us a little bit of time in the Fast Lane here. Gary, thank you so much for coming in here, and thank you for giving us an exciting Labor Day weekend. And maybe if we cross paths, I'll be sure to say hello up in the press box.
Well, TJ, I look forward to meeting you, and we look forward to hosting you. And thanks so much for having us. Have a great season.
You too, sir. Thank you so much, Gary. This is it for us here in the Fast Lane as we get ready for football season. Now on to Make It Ring with Adam Shine. This is the Fast Lane on VTRN 93.3 FM, 1320 AM. Open the VTRN Sports app and ask that smart speaker. Open VTRN Sports. That's how you can listen to us. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week on Around the Commonwealth Monday.
Thanks for listening to The Fast Lane on VTRN Sports, 93.3 FM, W227 BG Timberlake, and 1320 AM, WVGM Lynchburg.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.